Granddad got Mojo back again. I'm going to talk now about how to configure the control surfaces for my trigger complex interaction script inside of Sansar. We've got the 3D model that I talked about in the last video that's been properly, the pivot point has been set properly and the XY is correct. So we're going to define control surfaces. And what I do to define control surfaces is I get on top of my model, and then the control surfaces are circular. Actually, they're cylindrical in nature. So what I do is I add a cylinder over where I want my first control surface. And I'll say there, but I want it to move a little bit to the right. So that'll be my trigger surface 1, and it's creating something called over here, as you can see. I'll go create a second one. Maybe move him a little. Create a third one. And you can make these as, as fine or as rough as you want to, because you can always correct it when you're actually configuring things. We'll make that the third one though. And you'll see that in a minute, because I'm just doing this to get some relative XY positions and the radiuses of the control surfaces. The easiest way for me to do it. You actually don't import these cylinders for making with the model at all. So these are just to define logical control surfaces. So there I got them. Let me just move this one up a little bit. There. So I've got 5 control surfaces. So I've got this nifty little spreadsheet, and I'm going to define the 5 control surfaces. And what I normally do is I usually start on the left. So I find that first control surface, and I find the X and Y, and I usually just go down there and get the X and Y. Oh, I'm not getting it quite. Well, let's go do this and subtract the CM. Copy. And I put that in here. Get rid of the CM on it. I get the Y position. Again, I want to be looking at the first one. Get the Y position. Put it in the spreadsheet. And you can see they're both negative XY. That looks about right. That's negative 52 and negative 16. So it's to the left and down from where the center is. That's right if you're looking at it from the top. Then you also have to get the radius. So let's go look at that one again. Get into, like you're going to edit it and get the radius. And let's go do that. And again, I got to take the CM off to make my spreadsheet work correctly. So you do that for each one of the 5 surfaces. I'm going to pause the video now, and so you don't have to watch how long it takes me. All right, we're back, I think. So I have filled in all these numbers of each surface, control surface, and it creates this XY, and then these are being glued together by a concat statement over here. So I got to name my events. I tend to name them something usually generic like this, but you can name it something more meaningful. And then right now, this is going to be just 0 and 70. Eventually, I'll have these will be real Z minimum and maximum, so you can make a 3-dimensional surface to check. So there's what we get these statements made. And these are what we're gonna plug into the actual Sansar. So I'll just copy that and paste then without the formulas. So let's get into Sansar, and again I'll pause because it'll take a minute. I'm back in Sansar. I'm going to take the model that I imported in that we were working on, move them here, and you can see it doesn't have any textures on it, but that's okay. I mean, we can texture it afterwards if we want to. I guess when I loaded actually got the model, it didn't have the textures. So you go ahead and get into properties, and let's move in. And then normally I just try to put him in a useful position that doesn't have a lot of numbers. So let's say that X is around 16 and Y is 8. And there's no reason, you don't have to, but you'll see here in a minute while we save you some typing. So we've switched the model. Let's kind of move in here a little bit and see it. There it is. Now let's add a script. So I need to look at scene settings here. Not scene settings, wrong one. Not inventory, sorry. Wow. Whew. So there it is, and it's at, let's select that baby. Called new crystals. I'm going to add a script. That script is the trigger control interaction. And the first thing you get is a message while you hover over that with your mouse or your triggers for your VR controls. It gets this message that says click me. Current position. You have to copy down the current position. That's why I set them to like 16 and 7 here. The reason you have to do it 16 and 8 is that Sansar doesn't correctly, if I use in the script the current position and current orientation, it doesn't work. Someday they'll fix it. And the current rotation is 180, so you have to type it in here to make the script work. Off timer. Off timer, when you like press a key, it's got on your keyboard, it's got a press and release, and when you press it down, when you release it. Currently, when you click on an object or use your VR controller and click on it, it only has a press event. It doesn't have the release. So this allows it to fake. I'm going to say 1.2 seconds after you press it, send a release message as well. If you leave this 0, it doesn't send a release message. Okay, so now you can probably guess what's going to go in control surface 1. So it's going to be this thing. And control surface 2. So you can actually, even though you carefully got them, you can, after you get these in here, you can adjust them by just adjusting them here in the configuration of the script if you want to move them a little or make them a little bit bigger. Without going back to your model, without going back and doing this exercise again. So, and surface 4. That's why the typing of this is very, where it's going to error out if it does, it will be because we did something wrong with the typing of these things, probably, or my script's wrong. We don't want to think that though. All right. Here we go, the surface 5. So I got all 5 surfaces loaded. So we save it. And we build it. And what's going to happen here is it will, these control surfaces are some object in the model. If the center point of the model, which was 0, 0, that's why it's so important to center your model. If it's 52 centimeters to the left of that, or 18.399 Y back from that center to the left and back, and the radius is a little over 6 centimeters. If you click in that area, which will be actually defined up here, I mean that's what this left crystal will be, it will send an event called surface 1 that anything else can listen to. So I have, you've probably seen my example of this thing working with my Simon game. So that's how you set it up.